It's that time once again. The DIY Retirement Guide is the special offer right now at yourmoneyyourwealth.com, and it's only available until this Friday. Nearly all our other white papers, guides, and handbooks are always freely available in the financial resources section of our website, but the 40-plus pages of this guide are packed with so much practical, do-it-yourself information that we only make it available on a very limited basis, and it won't be offered again for a few months. Learn steps to understand and plan for your retirement income, sophisticated strategies for choosing a tax-efficient distribution method, guidance on developing an investing strategy that meets your needs, tips on preparing for the unexpected, and other actionable information that's normally only available in our retirement classes or one-on-one meetings. Click the link in the description of today's episode in your favorite podcast app, go to the show notes, and claim the DIY Retirement Guide by this Friday, July 5th, 2024. If you know someone who could benefit from the gift of financial education, share the podcast and the financial resources with them. Will their $5 million nest egg get them to ages 85 and 100? Pa and GiDi are 65 and 60 and retiring now. As they consider moving to the no-income tax state of Nevada in retirement, they have some decisions to make. Should Pa take Social Security before age 70? How should they bridge the gap until Social Security? And most importantly, how can they minimize their taxes in retirement? Should they wait to do Roth conversions until after the move? That's up next on this bonus episode of Your Money, Your Wealth, aka YMYW Extra. I'm producer Andy Last, and Your Money, Your Wealth hosts Joe Anderson, CFP, and Big Al Clopine, CPA, are both on vacation. So as Al enjoys Europe and Joe celebrates his milestone birthday on a golf course somewhere in the middle of this country, I've enlisted the help of Senior Financial Advisor Kyle Stacy, CFP, from the Pure Financial Advisors office in San Diego. It's important to note that this is just a spitball for educational purposes only. We don't know everything about your financial situation, so don't take this to the bank. Here's Kyle's spitball. Kyle, thank you so much. I really appreciate you stepping in to help me get the YMYW listeners the answers that they've been waiting for so long.
Yeah, sounds like we got a backlog, huh?
Well, this email that we're about to do is like from February.
Oh my
so
gosh.
Yeah, we're way behind.
Yeah,
we are way behind.
Yeah, when I read the email originally, I thought he said Gigi. That's my mom's nickname.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. So I saw GD.
Well, we'll get into that. So I'll go ahead and read the email, and then we'll just go through, and you can give me some spitball ideas,
Let's
okay?
do it.
All right. So the email says, greetings from Pa and GD here in Silicon Valley. Started listening to the show 6 months ago. Now it'd be like 8 months ago, 9 months ago, something like that. And now happily addicted. Wow. Thank you, Pa. You are now my song of choice when at the gym, but please don't sing. Okay, noted. 2024 is a big year for us as GD had an epic birthday in January, bought a new Rivian SUV, is retiring this month after 15 plus years working at that Forrest Gump fruit company that has a spaceship. Do you know what he's referring to?
I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, I actually had to look it up, and yeah, I would say that looks like a spaceship.
That was it.
He is 65 and retiring after 30 years in high tech, then realtor and high school coach for the past few years. GD is 60 and loves her Cabernet and Weekend Cosmo and Gold Rush, a bourbon cocktail. He does cheers with any beer, any and all beers. What's your drink of choice, Kyle?
Oh, I'm a Jack and Coke Zero guy.
Jack and Coke Zero.
Big Jack Daniels guy.
And why?
Just like Shabuzi, man. You know, they know me and Jack Daniels got a history.
Got it, okay.
Yep.
All right. He says that they're both very active, so they work hard to pay for their sins. He drives a 2011 MBC 300, which runs fine and gets him where he wants to go. And GD loves her brand new Rivian R1S. So here's their financial situation. They got a total of $5 million. They've got 3.1 in a brokerage account, 1.5 in pre-tax IRA, 200,000 in a Roth IRA. They've got 60,000 in Series I bonds, which mature in 2027 through 2029, and they've got $170,000 in cash. In 2023, they spent $135K. That was derived from Quicken reports, which he says are accurate, but it does not include taxes. Minor detail. In 2024, Medicare kicks in for him, A, B, D, IRMA, and supplement, $9,000 a year, so roughly. And GD insurance, about $7K for 7 months. With some home improvement projects planned and the new Rivian, we're budgeting for $200,000 in spending this year. A normal year, whatever normal is $140K. Pa says, they say your spending will go down in retirement, but I don't see that. My wife will have extra shopping time, no mortgage on their $1.7 million home, and no car loan. Both his parents passed away in their 70s, so he's planning for 85, and GD will live to 100. Plan is to take Social Security at age 70 for both. Pa will have about 51K, GD will have about 52K, and he's thinking of starting his Social Security earlier. Pa has a small annual pension with no COLA of $9,000, an inherited RMD of $15,000, $50K dividends from brokerage account, and no plans for working income. We will do Roth conversions while we can, staying under the 24% tax bracket. Being in California, that extra 9.3% makes me think if that is a difference maker. They're contemplating relocating to Summerlin, Nevada, I guess that would be, at some point. During transition period to Social Security, we will pull needed funds from our brokerage account, mainly AAPL, which we are invested pretty heavily in. And of course, that would be the Forrest Gump fruit company with the spaceship.
Yep.
Also might pull out of the IRA to lessen the RMDs once Social Security kicks in. So now he gets into the details here. Our portfolio is diversified with stocks and bonds, domestic, international, emerging markets, and REITs. The Apple stock skews the percentages to 74% stocks, 20% bonds, 2% REIT, 4% cash. Their target is 65%, 28%, 5%, 2%. Like all your listeners, I too have a spreadsheet that solves all the world's financial problems. Yeah, Pa must be some sort of engineer here. For the years 2020 to 2050, he has actual and previous years and estimated numbers for the budget, which includes line items for food, auto, home, travel, shopping, one-offs of car, home, miscellaneous, medical miscellaneous, etc., even estimated taxes. Yeah, he is a very detail-oriented person.
I would love to see this spreadsheet.
Account balances, they've got those all line itemed out as well for cash, taxable, tax deferred, and Roth, and income streams, cash, employment, pension, dividends, RMD, Social Security, stock sales. He attempted to calculate his Fed and state taxes. His annual parameters are fairly conservative for inflation at 3.5%, medical costs of 5%, rate of return on stocks he's planning for 6%, and rate of returns on bonds for 1%, and a Social Security COLA, cost of living adjustment of 2%. And then he says TMI, there's never too much information, right?
Never.
I'm glad you agree. Once you do your 3% calculation, I'm assuming that he means whether or not that's a reasonable distribution rate, I think we'll be okay. It's the minimizing tax thing that's the tricky part for me. I know you can't advise, but shooting the breeze should be okay, right? Thank you for all your help and awesome show. Keep up the great work. P.S. GD is short for Grandma Donna. All right, so Pa and Grandma Donna.
Yeah.
All right, so Kyle, what's your take on this? Just high level, what are your thoughts so far?
I think they've done a great job. I mean, they got $5 million liquid. They've got a paid-off house. It sounds like they live pretty reasonably within their means, but they've got some things coming up, right? Some big transitions. She's going to stop work. They have really the dividends, a little bit of income from RMDs, but they're going to be short. They're going to have to start pulling some money from all of this liquidity. So it's like, well, where do they pull it? How do they get it? Do they have enough? Mm-hmm. I think off the gate, I think his calculations look pretty good. I think they're on track, but...
Yeah, what do you think of his assumptions? Are those in a reasonable place?
I think they're realistic, yeah. But I think in all the years I've been doing this, I've never seen a situation that can't be screwed up. And so as wealth builds, and so does the anxiety, right? The more you have, the more you want to protect it. So.
Well, and he actually kind of has a point. He is aware of the fact that spending in retirement is more likely to go up than down if you're talking in real terms, right?
Yeah, it kind of looks like a smiley face in reality where those first 5 to 10 years are kind of the go-go years, so expenses actually go up.
Oh my gosh, you actually said go-go years.
Yeah, and then that, the decade afterwards where it's kind of been there, done that, seen it, it kind of goes down a little bit, and then unfortunately the last 5-10 years or so are typically a little bit higher because of healthcare related costs. But no, I think overall, just from a high level, I think things look pretty good. Now, the timing of all of these things is a little bit different, right? I mean, he's 65, she's 60, she's going to stop work this month, and then there's really no salary coming in. So it's likely they're going to have to start drawing from somewhere. And I do agree with them. I think that long term, they do have a little bit of a tax challenge. So it becomes, okay, well, what comes first? What do I start tackling? Do I start pulling money from the IRA? Do I pull it from the brokerage account? He's got that fruit company stock, AAPL, that he probably wants to take a bite out of. So it really just comes down to, I think, a tax play here.
Right.
Okay. And so, you look over the next 5-6 years, if he's going to have to, he's got his the RMD's coming in, the dividends are coming in, there's a little pension. That's about $75,000, but they want to spend $140 plus tax.
Right.
That's going to have to come from somewhere. So, by and large, they're going to need to pull about $75,000 to $100,000 from the portfolio. That puts them, right at about a 3% distribution rate, because the dividends are actually part of the withdrawal.
Right.
It sounds like he's living off the dividends. So if he's living off the dividends, that's money that's not getting reinvested. So the dividends are part of the withdrawal, plus he needs more than that, right? And so over the next 5 years, let's just assume that it's the dividends, the RMD, the $9,000 of the pension. From what I'm seeing, that looks like they'll probably be in a pretty low bracket once you take away your standard deduction and whatnot. And so if they're going to need cash, that could be a good opportunity to potentially do what's called gain harvesting. If you're within the 12% tax bracket, you don't have to pay capital gains tax. That might free up some cash pretty cheap and inexpensively. The challenge with doing that is you're sort of ignoring the elephant in the room, which is that big old IRA that they have of $1.5 million. Right? You go another 5, 7, 10 years, and now that thing's $2.5 million. And you just kind of look at the trajectory of what they're doing. He's going to be taking RMDs. And she's going to have her Social Security, his Social Security. If they kind of ignore all of that, by the time they get to their early to mid 70s, there might be $300,000 coming in fixed, and then they're stuck. Right. And then that makes all of the dividends a little bit more taxable. That makes the gains more taxable. And I don't know what taxes are going to be 10 years from now, right? So it's like, okay, there's some planning that needs to be done here, right?
So what do you think of his idea of doing Roth conversions up to the 24% bracket?
Now, he's got to run the numbers. I don't know what bracket he's going to be in the future. It's probably pretty reasonable to assume 24% is going to be close.
Right.
The next bracket up is 32%. That's a huge jump. The one right below it is only 2% lower. So just running those numbers, making sure. I think the biggest thing is just making sure that if they do go down that route of doing Roth conversions, they make sure that they have the cash on hand to pay for the tax.
Okay, let me ask you a question from a layperson standpoint. I have no idea how this works, but in terms of, they're in California now, they're planning to move to a no-tax state of Nevada. How does that impact their decision-making and timing, if at all?
Big decision, because if they were to move to Nevada, right, no-tax state, and they do those conversions, they don't have to pay the state income tax, right? So if they delay it, it might be one of those things where they want to maybe free up some of the cash in that non-retirement account while they're in that 12% bracket, just to give them a little bit of dry powder to pay the taxes. Because there's going to be a pretty significant demand on that brokerage pool if they're using it to pay taxes on conversions and to live off of, and they want to make sure that they're keeping it all, tax-free or tax efficient. Okay. Whereas if, they do some of that stuff now, it could be saving them, 8-9% on the state side.
And what do you think about his thoughts of potentially taking Social Security before age 70?
Yeah, I think he's probably got the wherewithal to delay it to 70, but again, there's the human element of it too. Right? Is like everyone wants to delay it to 70. Very few people actually do it in practice. So, it's one of those things, you get a bad market drops 10, 15%. It sounds like he's pretty heavily concentrated in the fruit company stock here. So if that does drop a little bit, it might make him feel a little uneasy, and then he might potentially have to tap into it.
And should he diversify that concentrated position?
I think you never want to let the investment, wag the tax dog tail, whatever that's saying. Al Clopine's probably said it 100 times on the show, but I always forget how it goes. But yeah, you don't want to let the taxes dictate it, from an investment standpoint. So if it comes down to it, how much does he want to get out of it? Is it a third, 2/3, the entire thing? Then that's a separate conversation and strategy to have around, diversifying that out.
Do you have any other suggestions for Pa and GiDi here?
Sounds like they're big beer people, or he is. Maybe diversify that.
Okay.
I'm not a beer guy. I can't do the beer.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're right for YMYW then, Kyle. I mean, that's pretty much a standard here on this show.
Yeah. Yep.
But, you got that JD and Coke Zero? Is that what it is?
Jack Daniels and Coke Zero. Not Diet Coke, Coke Zero.
And what's the reasoning for that?
I don't know. It just tastes better.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Coke Zero tastes way better than Diet Coke.
Okay, I'll let you have that one.
Yep.
All right, Kyle Stacy from the San Diego Pure Financial Advisors office. Thank you so much for stepping in and helping out.
Appreciate it.
Pa and GD, thank you for your patience in getting a spitball. I've got a twofer for you. Nick Rose, CFP, from the Pure Financial Advisors office in Woodland Hills, California, also did a video spitball on your question. I've linked to it in the description of today's episode, along with a helpful video that explains different ways to diversify a concentrated stock position like you have, and whether tax efficiency is the most important consideration. We've got a ton of other helpful guides, white papers, blogs, educational videos, and more to help you get retirement ready. And I'm in the comments every day on our YouTube channels, so join me in the conversation because this show would not be a show without you. Click the link in the description to schedule a free assessment with any of the experienced professionals at Pure Financial Advisors for a comprehensive review of your entire financial picture, because it takes more than just a spitball to get the most out of your money and your wealth in retirement. Help us grow your money, your wealth by sharing the show and by leaving your honest reviews and ratings in Apple Podcasts and any other podcast app that accepts them. Your Money, Your Wealth, and YMYW Extra are presented by Pure Financial Advisors, a registered investment advisor. This show does not intend to provide personalized investment advice through this podcast and does not represent that the securities or services discussed are suitable for any investor. As rules and regulations change, podcast content may become outdated. Investors are advised not to rely on any information contained in the podcast in the process of making a full and informed investment decision.